Whenever someone says bread, what do people picture in their mind? 9 times out of 10, they're thinking of white bread. It's definitely the most popular bread in America, but no one's giving it justice. They're buying that soft mush from the market. It has no texture, even though they can easily make it at home. If you want to have a major change in your life, I would recommend that you watch this video and learn how to make a real deal sandwich bread. So the first thing that you're going to need to do is bloom some yeast. I did instant yeast. If you use active dry, you're going to have to prolong the rising process, but no problem. You're going to add 16 grams of yeast to 177 grams of lukewarm water and mix it up. This whole recipe is in grams. I have the imperial amount in the description down below for anyone who wants to use it. Now after about 10 minutes, the yeast mixture should look really bubbly, really beautiful. Add that mixture to the bowl of a stand mixer. Now if it doesn't bubble up, that means that it's dead. You're going to have to start out with some new yeast. Now is the time to add the rest of your ingredients into the bowl of the stand mixer, which includes 43 grams of unsalted butter. You cannot do salted butter, no. 50 grams of granulated sugar, 394 grams of lukewarm water, 17 grams kosher salt. You could do sea salt, but I would prefer that you did kosher salt. 300 grams of whole wheat flour. Now you could do all bread flour since it is white bread, but I want to be a healthy person, so I just put some whole wheat flour in it. Now you can mix that up with any kitchen utensil you like. I did a rubber spatula, and when you mix it, it will look very liquidy. Don't worry, that was only like not even half of your flour. Now you're gonna, with the dough hook attachment, mix in 400 grams of bread flour. Make sure to mix it on low speed. We are not looking for too much gluten development. We're just looking for this to be fully combined. And every few minutes, make sure to scrape down the sides. The flour does tend to clump up onto the sides, and you could add extra flour, but no more than like 1/4 of a cup, which is still pushing it. Once the dough is combined, it's done with the mixer. We're only looking for it to be fully combined. So now you need to take out your dough, slap it onto a work surface. It will be very sticky and hard to work with, so if you have a bench scraper, you will probably want to use it. Now you're going to be performing a very scientific technique that is a very scientific name, and it's very well known. Now this technique is slap and fold. Now to do this, you're going to need to wet your hands with some water, and as you can see that I'm doing here, pick up the dough, slap it down on the counter, and fold it over itself. Now if you know anything about baking, you probably know that I'm not very good at this. I'm 14, I'm working on my technique, so give me a break, okay? And you're only going to need to do this for like no more than 2 minutes. Now you're going to put this back in the bowl, cover with plastic wrap, and let it rise for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you're going to need to perform another very scientific technique called stretch and fold. You're just going to stretch all 4 corners of the dough as much as possible and fold them. Hence the name stretch and fold. Once stretching, make sure not to rip the dough and leave it to rise for another 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, you will perform your second stretch and fold. Then after another 10 minutes, you'll perform your final stretch and fold and leave it to rise for a final 15 minutes. Now after 15 minutes, water work surface, and you're going to deflate the dough completely. Just take out all the air. And now you're going to shape the dough. So to do this, you need to cut it into 2 pieces, and it fits into 2 7x5 by 4 by 3 inch loaf pans. Use your dough scraper to shape them by pushing into a half circle, then completing the circle with your hand. Push the dough across your work surface. Make sure to keep it in constant contact with your bench scraper, and the dough will shape itself into a beautiful loaf. And that's the great thing about working with a wet dough. Now you're going to put it inside your loaf pan. You're probably going to want to oil and flour to keep it from sticking. You could use parchment paper. And you're going to leave the loaf to rise for 45 minutes to 1 hour, or until bound to get fat. You should be able to touch it without it deflating. Place it into a 400-degree oven for around 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, or when the bread registers 200 degrees Fahrenheit, take it out, leave it to cool in a cooling rack for 40 minutes. As you can see, I made the other loaf in a cake pan, which is a really good alternative. Now I would recommend cooking this as much as you can because I like that dark color. If you don't, then just check the temperature. Now you have the ultimate loaf with the ultimate grilled cheese. This is also incredible with just taking a slice, putting some butter in the pan and toasting it. I literally had that for breakfast once and I was satisfied. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.